Hey everybody, good morning. Happy Thursday. We want to dive in today in part 2 of our case study with Delaware Valley Infusion Services. So if you recall the last video I had posted, we were on site and I gave you a brief overview of the company, what they sell, how it's received into their pharmacy, and how it's shipped out. So more of a verbal supply chain, but now I'm going to map it out here and kind of give you guys an idea of what it looks like, and then talk about just some of the solutions I proposed to them. Again, this is not a very big project. It was pretty simple. They're still in startup phase. So there will be some other opportunities later on down the line, but for right now it's pretty simple, okay? So Delaware Valley Infusion Services, okay? And here's their pharmacy, all right? And they will receive product from a few manufacturers, okay? And what was interesting, I'll share with you, I was talking to the owner, and when that hurricane came through North Carolina, it shut down some of the pharmaceutical manufacturers. And so he was having trouble getting his IVs into his pharmacy. So when we talk about supply chain disruption, here's a perfect example. So he's getting it from one supplier, and maybe for the reality is, it's only one supplier that does this. I don't know the answer, but that's something I said, well, maybe if you could find other suppliers, so that way in case disruptions like this happen, you can have business continuity and you can still bring inventory in to fulfill your orders. So again, just an interesting tidbit that he shared with me. So all this product that comes in to the pharmacy, it's all next day, okay? And it's all small parcel. Because again, they're not ordering in large quantities. So if you recall, the box I showed you, there was styrofoam in it, and they have a special type of packaging they put in that styrofoam around the drugs to make sure it stays a certain temperature. So it all comes in here, and then when it comes into the pharmacy, what I saw was they have several refrigerators in there, and the products will go into the refrigerator and sit until it's time to mix them with other products to make the IVs, okay? So that's the inbound piece into the pharmacy. Now on the outbound side, okay, the pharmacy will then receive orders from health insurance companies, and they need to deliver to patients' homes. So again, pretty simple. And all of this is next day by noon, okay, priority. And they only ship, if you recall, Mondays, Tuesdays, and Wednesdays because, I'm trying to move so you guys can see, because that product can't sit in the box too long because that packaging can only hold the temperature for so long. It has a certain shelf life and it needs to get to these patients' homes. In addition to that, what I learned, sometimes at these patients' homes, there's traveling nurses waiting, because the nurses are the ones that administer the drugs to these patients. So not only does it have to arrive on time, okay, to also make sure it has a certain shelf life, it also has to arrive because you have someone there waiting for it. So a little extra curveball in their requirements. So what we looked at was, for the most part, it's all small parcel and it has to be delivered in a certain way, meaning next day. So you can't really change that. And because they're in the startup phase, we need more volume to maybe go back to UPS FedEx and have these conversations with them and say, hey, we have some volume. We want to see what you can do for us. I have read and I have seen that UPS and FedEx are seeing a trend where a lot of customers are deferring to the top tier services, if you will, to more economical services. So as this ramps up, because of the requirements, we might be able to go back and say, hey, here's a service that we need. We know you're looking to have more customers with this service. What can you kind of do to help us out? Now, the only other thing I want to mention to you is we had talked about how the pharmacy does have a delivery driver. And that delivery driver, you know, they might only go about, I'm going to say, an hour and a half to 2 hours outside of the radius of where this pharmacy is located. And the reason is because this is part of a larger network where the owner here, it's independently owned and operated, that pharmacy. So it's part of a larger network. And so one of the things I said is, for right now with your delivery driver, put in your addresses, throw it in Google Maps, and just play around and move the stop. So that way you're trying to do it in the most efficient way. And as it gets complicated, you know, I don't know, throw it into ChatGPT and see maybe ChatGPT can kind of give you a route if it gets complex. But I mean, for the most part, I don't think it's going to come to that. But as they get more delivery drivers, it's something to consider. So happy to share my findings, happy to map this out. It was a great experience and opportunity. The owner did ask me to check in with him every 6 to 12 months as they begin to ramp up to see where they might need help. So again, thanks for watching the video. Don't forget to subscribe and like, guys, and have a great Thursday.